Hey there, we're down in the basement. Moved a bunch of the stuff around so I can show you what the deal is with the worm composting. Because the reality is, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have enough friends and my wife really likes me too much, so you know what you need? You need worms in your basement. And this is what I have here. I've got worms in the basement. As you could tell if you were here, doesn't smell at all. It's a little earthy maybe, but that's about it. But doesn't smell at all. It's a really simple way to get rid of all your food and your leftovers and stuff like that. So let's take a look. You can basically make, by the way, a worm composter out of, you can take any Rubbermaid box, and there's things all over the web. You can make it really easily. I totally went out and bought a system. This is called the Worm Factory. The Worm Factory. And this is a tiered system. Basically, you've got the bottom area that collects this stuff called worm tea, which unfortunately I don't have any to show you right now, but that's sort of water and stuff that kind of sluices through the stuff, and it has really good nutrients in it. Then each bin has its own thing. This bottom bin I stopped putting stuff in about 2 months ago, and about another month it'll be ready to harvest, which means the worms are pretty much done eating all the food and the paper and stuff in there. But first let's look at the top bin, which is the bin that's working right now. You'll see each of these little guys has holes all through the bottom, so the worms can like come and go and hang out with each other and have community meetings and things. If you look right here on the side, you can actually see a whole bunch of little tiny worms that are hatching or hatched. To be perfectly honest, the big worms I kind of like. The little worms sort of freak me out a little bit. I don't know why, but they just do. So top of it, you keep a piece of paper on there, just and keep it moist. It's basically just to keep the worms happy and protected from sunlight, not that there's any down here. So when you peel it back, you will see there's all sorts of shredded newspaper and junk mail and stuff like that. This is a great way to get rid of your junk mail and your newspaper because they eat it all and they turn it into worm castings or worm poop, which is really good fertilizer, which is what you're going to come out with. So if we kind of pull that back a little bit, you'll see orange peels and food, and let's just find a big bunch of worms here so you can see them. Oh, there we go. There's a whole bunch in there. I just put a bunch of rice in here. They really like rice because the rice, as it breaks down, actually heats up. They kind of like that. There's a big, nice fat worm for you. Trying to figure out why I'm picking him out of the bunch there. So I'll put him back in. Actually, most people don't realize that the worms don't eat the food. Microbes eat the food, and the worms eat the microbes. So it's sort of like this symbiotic. Well, I don't know if that's symbiotic because the microbes don't do so well, but the worms like it. So basically, you pop them in here and let them do their thing. Let me push this back over so they're nice and covered. They'll kind of, as you open this thing up, and pretty much if you have a bunch of food, you just pop it in there, pull this stuff back, pop it in there like I popped that stuff in there, cover it up, and you are done. I'm just going to put the top back on so that they're nice and happy. Let me show you the bottom bin, which like I said has been sort of settling for 2 months. A little heavy. There you go. You can see the only thing you're seeing in there, and the worms are going to start going down because they don't like the light. The only thing you can see in there really left over is some paper that they haven't finished yet, but everything else is pretty much good worm compost and worm castings. That'll go out in the garden in probably another month or so. And this bin that I just showed you, I've probably got another week's worth or so out of it. You can put like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a day of food in there, which is really a lot of food. You don't want to put meat or dairy because the worms will be fine with it, but it'll take a while to break down and it really stinks, so that's not going to gain you a lot of friends. And then I'll just start a new one. I'll basically just pop some new food in there, I'll pop some paper shreddings in there and a handful of worms to get it going, and I'll put a new one on there, and boom, you're off to the races, and you start doing that one. Then the bottom ones you just let go. Over time, as you can see in this video, the bottom bins will actually just sort of compress as they eat down all the food. It's pretty cool. So that's kind of it. The worms in here will actually double every 3 months. Probably right now they're about, I would say, I don't know, I'm guessing 6,000 to 7,000 worms in there, believe it or not. But the great thing is they won't get too many. They'll like stay within the size that they can maintain in here. So it's a pretty good, efficient system. I sort of look at this and I go, why isn't everybody doing this? And why is there any food going into a landfill when you can make really good fertilizer out of it? So get yourself a worm factory or a worm composter and get to work.